The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade. Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade, where we educate, empower, and entertain. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, download, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Welcome back to The Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us here a couple, and we are excited to get into this topic. Is marriage hard? We have had many discussions about it. We have heard from different sides, but I want to hear from a Christian perspective about marriage and the different intricacies that, go with it. So today we have Charmian-Marie and we have Brian, and they are Mr. and Mrs. Beedle. So Charmian is a serial entrepreneur and a musician, and Brian is a content creator and a photographer. And they have a million things that we could write a book about, but we're going to stick with those things. And we're going to ask them to leave their plug at the end so that you can find them on social media and wherever it is that they are. So, hi, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
No problem.
Things we could write about.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, man.
So I'm gonna jump right into it because that's how we do it here. So as a Christian couple, is marriage what you expected it to be? Anybody
Ladies
can
first.
ask that anytime.
Ladies
Wow,
first.
but like you just, all right, no problem. Sure, babe.
This is marriage.
Is marriage hard, and is it or is it what we expected it to be? Like, can I tell you, it has turned out to be a lot better than I expected it to be, and I'm not, no cap, like I'm not even just saying that because he's right beside me, but honestly, based on how society makes it seem, like even when we were around certain groups that were preparing us for marriage and stuff like that, you'd always hear, marriage is a lot of work, marriage is this, marriage, and it didn't help to encourage, a lot of the things, and you always in society hear about a lot of marital roles and stuff, and it more comes across as very rigid and like, the wife must do this, the husband must do that, and so at different points we kind of had to regroup, like even before getting married, like, all right, cool, like do we really know what we're getting into? But literally, as we got into marriage, and we've had our different challenges, because July would make 4 years that we've been married. Our reality is that we have found friendship, and we have found the beauty and the freedom to actually grow with each other, and just to be able to create our own dynamic. And so I feel like it has not been what I expected, because honestly, it has felt a lot more free, and like, I have a life partner that's growing with me. So I've greatly appreciated that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, do I have to say anything else? I mean,
I would like you to.
joke. I'm joking. I think I thought about the question, and I was just like, is marriage hard? I think it's better to say that marriage has hard parts to it, and I think the hard parts are what you can expect, but you don't see it until you're actually doing it. Like when somebody says they're gonna, you should try skydiving, It's one thing to say, do it. Okay, cool. That sounds cool. You can do it. It's another thing when you're there and you're actually supposed to jump out the plane. Now, in regards to marriage, the hard parts that you kind of expect happen, which is that Charmian and I, um, first of all, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, we're both coming from two different places of life.
Yep.
Third of all, we've had different set of friends, experiences, all of that.
Yep.
And just imagine all of that now deciding to come together, to live together, to work together, to understand how we wake up, how we go to sleep, what we like to eat, what we don't like to eat,
Yeah.
what looks good to us from what doesn't look good to us. We have to mesh that all in. Um, I mean, to our mind says it like this. Um, when we're at the altar, we're really just saying yes to what we're saying yes to is not what we already know, because we already have said yes to that. But it's what we don't know that we're saying yes to and we're
Yeah.
committing to. And so therefore, when we the hard parts are when we have to wrestle with those different things and figure it out. And as Charmian would have mentioned, even just the gender roles, or if we even want to submit to certain gender roles, or what are the different things that have been traditions in our family that, okay, maybe this is not for us, maybe this is for us. How can we do this differently? So I feel like those are the where the hard parts come in. But the hope is that the heart of the person and the principles and the different things, the foundations that you would have seen in this person as well, as you come together, you hold on to those, because you say, you know what, at the core of this person, she's not trying to hurt me,
Right.
and hopefully she's saying I'm not trying to hurt him, and but we're trying to figure this thing out. And sometimes it feels like, yes, we're fighting against each other, but really we're just trying to figure out how can we make this better,
Right.
so that we can flourish in this.
Right.
Mercy. You guys left a lot of food for thought just by the first question. So I'm afraid of what is gonna come.
Well, it's
I'm
you,
afraid.
sir, it's you for write the book, you know. Oh, Lord.
There was something
Listeners,
though
be
that was
afraid.
there was something though that was said. Um,
Mhm.
in terms of the helicopter, jumping onto the helicopter. Is it helicopter?
The plane.
Or the
The
plane,
plane,
yeah.
right? So for that question, for both of you, can someone then who has never experienced marriage then give you guys marriage advice?
Someone who has never yet
Never yet.
exp-
Experience.
experienced marriage,
Yes.
give marriage advice.
Yes.
Honestly,
Charmian.
I want to politely say no.
Okay. Okay.
Because I mean, on the surface, like if someone wants to come to me and say, hey, make sure you communicate, make sure you do this or whatever, like cool, I'll take that surface advice, because of course communication is important in marriage. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But
Well,
when it
communication
comes
is important though for any relationship.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So that's why I said surface, because I mean that's a given, like, you get me. But
Right.
in terms of like there's this piece of advice that a lot of people love to throw around, like don't go to bed angry, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, there's so many, and I mean, there are a lot of persons who are not married who also throw that into the mix, saying, "Hey, make sure you work it out, make sure the sun doesn't go
Mhm.
down on your wrath and whatever."
Mhm.
But there's sometimes when there are certain things that really get down deep and really hurt you and stuff. And honestly, sometimes it makes better sense for you to sleep on that, or makes better sense for you to step back and process before you respond in a way that might actually hurt the situation more or get deeper. So I'm using that example to say that, yeah, anybody is free to, say, hey, let's try and give you quote unquote advice, but honestly, like, I can't tell you that I'm going to allow it to go beyond my certain filter, because
Nice.
I know what I've been through with this guy, and he
Yes.
knows what he's been through with me, and we have had to just work on our dynamic based on our very specific and unique personalities.
You know, that's so interesting, because that advice is actually a biblical advice.
Right.
And I feel like that's also another thing
Right.
that it comes down to, like, this is why you have to, like, really know God for yourself,
Exactly.
know God as a couple, and just understand, because a lot of people take, while that interpretation can be taken literally, and to a certain degree, okay, we can definitely try it. There are some things that I realize, yeah, just shut up and make we go sleep.
That's right. That me say. Don't come rub
Just
your
Yeah.
foot on me
just
right now. Come
me
here, go get
Yeah.
some
and
sleep.
and
Yeah.
maybe maybe that interpretation is me stopping my wrath. Is
Right.
me deciding to, you know what, I'm gonna say something really bad, or I feel like something really bad is gonna happen. The best thing I can do is shut up and go to bed. The best thing you can do is shut up and go to bed, and we just sleep it off or wake up and
It's a shut up for me.
okay. And so yeah, because and I say it like that because sometimes it's that tush
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
let me just stop
yeah,
talking
Right.
here.
yeah,
Right.
Sometimes it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
yeah,
And keep
yeah,
your
And
mouth.
just
Yeah.
yeah,
ease back and ease
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And so when it comes on to advice from persons who have never been married or never been in a marriage experience, everybody can give advice,
Yeah.
but it's like everybody can cook, but it's not everybody is a chef.
Hey.
You understand?
No,
Hey.
I
stop.
mean, like everybody can you
Everybody
know
can boil water.
of
Don't
course
Exactly. That's
everybody
right.
can say I can make eggs, but and not everybody can do what is that?
Poached eggs.
Poached
poach
eggs
That's
eggs.
right. Yeah.
That's right. But
and do it perfectly.
Right.
that's
Yeah,
right. But
because
are they taking it out of context too? Because what I've realized is that we can follow the scripture in that way. Don't go
Mm-hmm.
to bed angry, or don't let the wrath go down. But
Mm-hmm.
mm,
instead of us at each other, because what I realized that we can do also, if we're even upset at each other, we can say good night. At least we know we're still talking to each other
You're
and we
right.
like each
Yeah.
other. I mean, I don't like it right now, but I still love
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you, so good night. Or
And
yeah,
if it is that we
no.
don't want to kiss goodnight, we kiss goodnight and we still go to bed. We know we're upset, but at least we kiss
Right.
and we're going to bed. So we know that there's still a connection there. We're not breaking that connection because we're
Exactly.
angry.
right there.
And no, and I completely agree with you on that. And you can ask Brian, like that's something that we established from very early on. Like if we leave in the house and we're still upset on whatever, we're still going to kiss and say I
Yep.
love you, still
Yep.
gonna kiss and say goodbye. I also don't believe on the sleep on the couch thing. We're not in our
Nope. I
foolishness.
don't do that
So
either.
yeah, man. So you're gonna sleep beside me in our bed, even if you want to turn it back to me because your
Yeah.
bed, big up yourself, but you're
Pick up
in our bed
yourself.
with me.
That's right.
Right. So saying that to say we established those things from early on because at the end of the day we don't want to foster a thing of malice in our household. I mean, we don't have no time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Life
And
is
so,
short and I would have the energy for that.
Exactly.
don't.
Tired. So yeah.
What are some of the things though that you wish you knew before marriage?
Brian, would you like to go first?
What are some of the things that I wish I knew before I went into marriage? I wish marriage there wasn't a there was some guidance into it. Like when I say guidance, like
in,
proper guidance,
in terms
like
of what?
in terms of just like somebody walking you through it. Like I wish like somebody walking you through it, like it's not just a fear thing, because as Charmian would have shared, like even people before, again, don't do this, don't do that, and it's just like all of it is fear versus it's versus somebody actually like, yo, yes, there are some good times and yes, there will be some bad times, but at the same time, just hold on, just hold steady. um and so that's one of the things for me. Another thing I wish I knew was the patience that it would have taken. Like just knowing that, like you will have to be patient consistently as best as you possibly can. And it's so funny because I thought I was a patient person. I always thought it's like I'm calm, I'm patient, I'm willing, and I'm this. But then you realize that as you get into marriage, it's like, yeah, you have to up the level a bit more, and it keeps on upping the level because situations are different and issues may arise that are different. That your patience, your grace will be tested.
I agree.
I fully agree too. Like no shade. But I agree with you, babe. And in addition to that, I wish I knew that the whole process of growth together, like with not just you being an individual and you having your own vices and whatever, but the whole matter of growth, like with you and like another whole human being,
Mm-hmm.
um, is messy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for the fact that you have someone consistently in your space and stuff like that, there's literally gonna be no room for you to, like, if you really want to have like a humble, open and transparent relationship, there's literally no room really for you to like pretend and hide certain parts of yourself and all them something there. Like, growing with somebody and truly calling somebody your life partner, it's going to be messy, and there's nothing fully, I believe, that can fully prepare you for that, because you don't know what is going to come at you in life.
True.
You know what I'm
True.
saying? And so I wish I kind of knew that, because it would have, I don't think I would have had so many of my walls up for so long, you know. And also I wish I knew that, you know, like when persons say, you know, oh, I'll do this when I'm ready, or when I reach a certain destination. I wish I knew that, like, when it comes to marriage, like, there's no when I'm ready.
No, you're in
Like,
it.
you exactly, like, you can do your very best to you know, improve yourself in different things and whatever, but the true teacher, the true test is life.
Yes, it is.
The true test is journeying together and choosing to apply certain principles that you would have taken up throughout your life's journey. But there's no reaching a certain level then taking a jump. Like, as you said, we're in it.
Yep.
So saying that to say, like, again, because of how marriage has been honestly portrayed in societal norms and stuff like that, in past times, like, I always felt like, okay, cool, well, this is the level you get to, and then, you know, like Mario Kart, like you move to the next level and whatever. But yeah, man, no, this marriage thing completely obliterates a lot of these things.
Yeah, I have one more. I have one more that came to mind as you were speaking. I wish I knew how important friendship was.
Mercy. That's
I wish I knew how important friendship was. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think I can share this, that
Yeah.
for me and C, we I would say honestly we weren't fully friends. Like, I'd say we liked certain things.
And it's because
it
of
was
how we got
similar,
together,
and we got
yeah.
together in a way where,
In a very unique way.
yeah,
So
and unique, but it was, but on the brass that was like,
Yeah.
I want you, you want me.
Yeah.
Let's go through this thing of like,
Right.
I see marriage with you, and I think a lot of it was more romantic than and getting to know on a romantic and getting to know on a, you know, I'm gonna, this person is gonna become my wife and
Or
I'm gonna be
husband.
her
Mhm.
husband type
Right.
of thing.
Right.
Versus like
Let's build a
like
friendship.
are we friends? Are we
Yeah.
building a
Right.
friendship?
Yeah.
And so when we got in marriage, we realized how much or how important that became,
Right.
because it was important when those romantic times and those lovey-dovey
Were
times
not
and
coming.
those nice times were not there. Okay, what do we have?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, what do we like? Do I like being in the space with you? Like, do I
Exactly.
like
like
do
you?
I like you?
Yeah.
That's right.
It's-
Mhm.
And it didn't occur so much how important it was, because even in society there is this thing of, oh yeah man, it's just the attraction, and then you get her, and you know,
Right.
you just move forward and everything is nice and romantic, and it's everything.
Yeah.
It's just possibly putting on a face too, and then you get into marriage and it's like, I really don't know if I want to carry up on the road. I don't know. I don't know if you can chill with
Exactly.
my friend them or your friend them or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny, and sir, just to add on to that though, I also wish I knew, like, so especially as females, we are told that, like, and I mean, don't, if you don't mind me sharing this way, but we're told that, like, men are like want sex all the time.
Mhm.
And so you just need to like make yourself available, and like if you're not doing
Mhm.
that, then like you are failing as a woman, and like you need
Yep.
to just get over that.
Yep.
And then so I'll be very straight up and say, like, yo, I had to learn that there was more to marriage than sex.
Yes, please.
Like, and I mean, my husband is a very like thoughtful individual and stuff like that, and so I had to recalibrate my mind to say, okay, cool, like, sex is not just gonna be a quick fix.
Right.
Like we actually like have to have like the deep conversation. And I mean,
Yes.
I am someone who speaks deeply, but at the same time, I thought I could just put a band-aid where he's concerned because of how men are portrayed in the society,
Mm,
right? And so I had to get to know my husband as my man and
that's
as
right.
as a deep individual who has thoughts beyond sex.
Yes.
And then and so even in the matter of friendship, funny enough, as much as COVID-19 broke up a lot of marriages, COVID-19 actually saved us
Yes.
because we actually because we're so busy, because we are highly creative and highly operative in our society or community that we are a part of. And so at one point we were just kind of coping, like morning we just leave, evening we come home, we're tired, all them something there. But COVID forced us to actually like have to push beyond those boundaries because we weren't going anywhere.
No.
And yeah, so saying that to say, like the matter of friendship and the matter of, you know, friendship beyond intimacy and the matter of friendship in the midst of conflict, definitely has been something that has really helped us to drive forward, because we've been through a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for just how strong we are where that is concerned. And I can definitely say no, that yeah, we are actually friends.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
that. And piggybacking on what was said earlier, I believe personally that when it is that we're gonna get married, we hear a lot of things, and it makes us go into a marriage being a helicopter spouse.
Hey.
Um,
Ooh.
so we go into the marriage fearful, and every little thing we're over it, we're hovering, we're not
Right.
trying to learn things for ourselves, and that alone creates mayhem. And then nobody
Yeah.
wants to be with each other because why are you always watching me? Why, we get on top of each other because of all these things, and it's because of how it is that it was brought to us. And with
Right.
that, the follow-up question is really, do you believe that the church should prepare couples better for marriage? Because to be honest, I grew up in church, and even getting married, I had a pastor, different pastors as counselors. And to be honest with you and straightforward, I wish I never had that.
Wow.
Because,
Okay.
right, because the reality is when it is that I was in the what they call on the road to getting a divorce, and it is that I now sought other counselors who were not necessarily just Christians, but they were,
Right.
you know, they were counselors,
Right.
psychotherapists, etc. And I got the different views. I
Right.
became a better person, but that was too late for me in that marriage.
Right. I get that.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Um, so honestly for me, I feel like I feel like it's also depending on the sphere that you're in,
Okay.
um, because it's so funny. Like it's the reverse for me. When I was single, I saw marriage seminars and stuff. I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's what I was looking for or what just showed up, but I saw a lot of marriage seminars and this and that, and I was just like, boy, so much I don't know. I was just like, why is there so much? But when I got married, I saw them less. And then this realized, oh, these are necessary.
Yes.
These are really, really necessary because I, I, I think what the church does is, and not all churches, some churches, and seemingly majority of churches, they're just expecting that you see good stuff and then you get it, and then when you're near to the time of getting married, they start to just drop little opinions and little this and little that, and then I was okay. I supposed to just take those small notes and put them together and make sense of this
Yeah.
versus having a couple or possibly a couple's ministry walking through this thing with you, walking through situations. So yes, you're possibly going to even marriage counseling, but how about a couple walking it through with them, asking some of the questions that you may not be able to, you're not possibly asking in the counseling session, or even if you ask it in the counseling session has a limited time. You want to expand that conversation a bit more. You may want to expand that conversation with other people to say like, what you think about this or what you think about that. So I feel like just as how discipleship should be, when you become a Christian and somebody's walking it through with you, the church can do more in possibly aligning good marriages with new marriages, and help them to walk through the thing, especially in the first like 3 4 5 years, because you also hear that that's also the time when it's the hardest. And you understand why it's the hardest, because as I spoke before, that is the getting to know. That is the us trying to mesh. We're figuring out who we are as a couple, who we are, who I am as a husband, who she is as a wife, who we are as people together, living together, and how we're gonna make that work for us. Not even for anybody else, but for us, how that's gonna happen. So I think definitely there needs to be more work done and more help and support given from church.
Mm.
On I agree, babe. Definitely, definitely. So I might say a few things right now that might shake up a bit of things, right?
Shake it.
So here's the thing about it now, right? So just a little prips into my past. So I've my journey prior to marriage took me to 8 to 9 different churches, because of a marriage that my mother was in and what that guy did. But saying that to say, like, I was able to see different cultures and how they treated marriage and how they treated family and stuff like that. And so, me answering from this with what I'm about to say is from that context and not just one congregation.
Okay.
So saying that to say, I feel like the church, in funny enough, the same way that we sex is taboo and stuff, somehow the church has missed its opportunity to groom people who are indeed like marriage like healthy. You get me? Because and so funny enough, when it and I'll be very straight up with you, when we were approaching marriage counseling and stuff like that, like I was reluctant to get a counselor from the church. Because for me, when I associate marriage with churches and stuff like that, because I have not seen many healthy marriages in any congregation really that I've been a part of. I mean, you have your one and two, and I mean, you greet them, so that's nice. But it has not been a consistent culture that we've seen generally as a society, kind of. And so when I keep on hearing about marriage in churches, I keep on thinking about infidelity. I keep thinking about I keep thinking about Mary Jane, who is on the praise team, who is secretly texting
Listen to me.
Uncle Joe, who is, you get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's because there has not been so much of a proper container that of nurturing of family in so many congregations. And so I must say that, like, there are certain congregations that I'm seeing rising up here in Jamaican society these days that celebrates families and celebrates the journeying of these young couples and stuff like that. And I applaud that from afar, because for me, like, we need to see more pictures of healthy marriages in the church and stuff, so that more people will understand that, it is possible.
It is.
And I mean, of course, we don't know what is in and everybody closet or whatever, but from at least the onset, you're not seeing the bag of malice, you're not seeing, say Sister Jane sits on the other end of the church from her husband, brother Joe, all them something there, like you're not seeing those toxic traits. And also when it comes to even the leadership and stuff like that, I believe that our church leaders need to play a more vital role in terms of actually having deliberately setting up ministries, like as Brian said, that facilitate that journeying with younger couples and older couples, and not in an awkward way. Like I mean, we were a part of something, and I don't want to give out too many details, but we were a part of something where that was being tried and stuff. But then, like, when you went into like the female group, like, you started hearing some random awkward thing from the very old females, and like, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, and it was and because there was no real culture before, it just felt very brash and abrasive, like when you were receiving the stuff.
So it was like, instead of asking like, what do you want to know? What are your questions? Stuff like that. They were like, yo, let me just tell you what to do
No,
and you can fix it.
so actually, so they were trying to ask what we wanted to know,
Oh,
but
okay,
because
okay,
there was
okay.
not much of a culture, we weren't even fully comfortable asking some of the real questions.
Oh, okay.
And so
Understand.
so it's almost like they then said, all right, let us still make the best of this time, and then they started, telling, oh, make sure you do this for your husband in law, and da, 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 da. And so say, and it was just awkward. So saying that to say, like, at least there was an effort there, fine. But I'm just saying, like, generally as a church, we need to more deliberately say, all right, cool, let's prepare our singles for marriage. Let's prepare or even persons who are already married. Let us make sure that, like, yo, they can feel accountable, and somehow in Jesus name make it be like a safe space where you don't
Yes.
have to worry about your husband possibly texting Susie Cube on the side and
Yeah.
whatever, because it's not like everybody's having so much access.
Woo.
Like, those kind of things freak me out. And like,
No, it's true. It's
yeah,
true.
man,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm honestly not the type of, because I've been through so much trauma in my life. Like, minute take check with them something there. Like, that's one of the quickest ways for me to, like, not, like, I will get down. You got
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
I just want to add something to that what Charmian said because it's very true. I heard a quote recently that basically said the best way to add to change culture is not to cancel the culture,
Mm-hmm.
but it's to add culture on culture. And
Mm-hmm.
what that means is that add more culture to the culture. And what that
Yes.
means is just as Charmian said, it's a reality that we don't see the good marriages
Consistently.
consistently. The good marriages, and when I say good marriages, it's not that they're perfect, but they are working. They are like I can tell you. I feel like I'm sharing this. No, but no, but Shashami, I might get a little surprise. It's
Whoa,
not
whoa,
a
whoa.
thing. But I feel like on my heart, sometime one day when I'm really free, my passion project is really starting to highlight good marriages.
Yes, please.
Marriages that have been, when I say marriages, like, I'm not talking 3, 4, 10, 5 year marriage. I'm talking 20, 40 up. And be like, let's ask these persons the questions. How did you get to 50? How did you get to 40? How did you get to 20?
Exactly.
Because I'm
Hmm.
a person like this, and Charmian will tell you, like, a lot of times, even in our hardest times, I would have said to Charmian, when we're really having the conversation, I'd have said to her that honestly, I see some of these marriages that are 20, 30, 40, and and me just the number three are no are on to number four, and we can't make that this way we are going to mash it up
Exactly.
because there must have been some things those have went through. No, I don't know exactly some of the
Hey,
things those have
yep.
went through,
Yep.
but I'm looking at it and said they are still there, so there must be something that they would have held on to carry them through and be like, yeah, we're still here, we still love each other, we're still trying to do the best for each other, and we're still trying to work it through and trusting God as we walk this walk of marriage. And so, therefore, honestly, we do need to see more good marriages. We do need to hear about them. We do need to hear what their progress have been like. We do need to hear the ups and the downs because that helps. I'm so scared for the next generation
Me
It's
too.
who
me,
has
man.
seen this multiple and multiple
Woo.
toxic marriages, and
Mm-hmm.
as
Exactly.
Shamian would have stated, things that are revealing, especially unfortunately in the church,
In the
about
church.
marriages
Wait.
coming to naught and infidelity
Mm.
of men and possibly women
And
and
woman,
stuff like
when
that.
is woman, they having it with. So it's you know.
So,
So
okay,
Mostly.
so
Mostly.
why
Anyway.
that's another kettle of fish.
Well,
John,
you know what?
I'm going at it. But as we are saying, why? But as me I say, no, but it's true. It's very, very true.
No, I'm gonna. I
Just
agree. I agree with both of you. And even when when Charmian spoke about even taboo stuff like sex, it shouldn't be a taboo. We're gonna have sex. We're married. It's what's gonna
yeah,
happen. People are doing it before marriage. If you created a
exactly.
safe space in the church to speak about it, maybe people will
Mm,
love and
right,
say, you know
right,
what, let me
right.
wait. Because then we don't talk about it. And then people, these are another topic, but then people
Mm-hmm.
marry and expect something because they're used to something before and nobody tell them that's not how it is.
Yes.
So
Also, we want to talk about counter transference because a lot of times in church you have where persons will come to you, make sure you do this, no, you did that.
mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do it because you did that. So don't
Right.
put that
Mm.
on me because that was the expectation in your marriage.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we said that deliberately before we got married as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes we look at people who have been married 40, 50, 20 years. I used to look at it and my God, that's a long time. And then love,
Mm-hmm.
I've come to the realization that people are not honest. There are
Right.
persons
Yeah.
who have been married for 50 years, 40 years, 25 years, and are not happy but stay together because of church.
Exactly. Exactly.
I would love for it to be good marriages because you do have some that have gone through the rigors and are
Yeah.
still together. There are some
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I have had the opportunity to speak to some of these couples who have been through infidelity, been through
Mm.
trauma, been through whatever, and are still together because they said, this is my person, so whatever it is, we're going to fight for it. These
Mm-hmm.
days, and I'm a part of these days, these days, we are not staying in a relationship with someone and fighting
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
past these things to be with them because here what our ego is now crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We now can't see ourselves because it's an embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
We now do not want to live with, oh my God, I stayed with somebody who did this to me, who hurt me this way, who whatever it is.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Yeah.
do that. So if it is that we don't want to do that and we want the quote unquote microwave marriage, how it is that we can get to 50 years?
Hey.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's funny that you mentioned all of that. There were two things that I wanted to mention before you get into that, but I want to round that all up because it's a very important point that you mentioned. I love the term microwave marriage because 'cause millennials are called the microwave generation for a reason. But saying that to say, so even in terms of like the matter of sex being taboo, I remember having a really weird experience that has etched itself in my remembrance. And I mean, I'm going to be very open here. So one of the young people at a specific church, won't say,
Hmm.
said to me, Charmian, do are married couples allowed to have like oral sex?
Hmm. Yep.
So I said, yeah, well, and she said, really? And she was like legitimately shocked, and I said, but what's going on? And she said, so do you guys talk about sex? So I said, what do you mean talk about? We have sex, we
Yes.
do, like, and we enjoy different passions with our partner. You get me?
Right.
Like married sex not for boring. You get
No.
me?
Nope.
So and then she's like, "Whoa, that's very shocking and that's very encouraging." But that's to tell you how much like because of how the church has positioned sex and whatever, even in marriage and whatever, it just seems like this forbidden thing. And so magically, apparently, babies just drop from sky,
Apparently.
and apparently, yeah. And so for me, if we want to properly like nurture the way or teens and our children think
Mm-hmm.
about sex and desire to wait because it is sacred and stuff like that, then we indeed need to be start fostering that in the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as it relates to generally preparing our and better nurturing marriages in the church and stuff, I also believe that the church needs to do better in terms of managing the persons who have given themselves onto ministry, in the
Hmm.
sense
Mm.
of
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there are a lot of married couples who, funny enough, because of the church, have split up. Like
Yes.
I told Brian straight up from even before we married, I said I am not coming second to no church. Is it me? Like you can commit to how many other ministries, happy,
Oh
happy, joy,
gosh, yes.
joy. You get
Hmm.
me? But guess what? I am not going to be fighting for my time with you.
That's right.
So saying that to say, like, there's so many couples and whatever. Like I know about 3 couples where the church basically done with them, or they have retired from the church or whatever, based on ministries, maybe 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, I whatever,
Hmm.
And by the time them retire and stuff, is like them just getting to know them wife,
Yep.
or just getting to know them husband. And what you do with that? Like you just miss out on years of your marriage because you were at church. You
Hmm.
get me? But at the same time, yes, those couples could have made better decisions. But at the same time, too, it's hard sometimes for a lot of these persons to say no to the church because they have committed to something, and nothing is wrong with being a committed individual. So sometimes the church can, I believe, have more consideration for the fact that this person has married. Now, granted, though, I do understand that the church more than likely saying, yo, it's personal responsibility. So I think it's a shared kind of thing. But in terms of really protecting the sanctity of marriage, I think that a lot of the church leaders need to be better protective of, healthy marriages by at least saying, yo, all right, cool. Let's not call on Brother John today. Let us call on the single Brother Matthew over there.
Yep,
So
to do
and
something.
and if it is that Brother
I'm
Matthew,
not abusing
right?
Matthew, please.
Right.
'Cause,
Right.
yeah,
But
man.
if it is that Brother Matthew can do things as good as Brother John, then set up somewhere something where there's better succession planning, where
Training.
Brother Matthew exactly can be trained to do things or whatever, and nothing falls too much on any one man. And I mean, succession planning is a whole other discussion, but whatever.
You know
Right.
what my father had said to me when I had gotten married. He had said, "All right, so you're gonna get married. 1 year you're not doing anything in church. That's your
Yeah,
focus,
Yeah.
your marriage."
yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
then
we did that too.
he had said, when it is that you start back, only do one or two things, because
Hmm.
church is not gonna. You're not gonna say it's a church that allowed your marriage to fail.
Exactly. It's
And
true.
Yeah.
I've been in church also. I've realized that people who are not friends with their spouse and don't want to be at home go to church, and they
Hey.
find activities to bury themselves in. So I have an excuse to not be at home. And
Yeah.
this is where leaders need to notice what is happening and say, no, no, no,
Right.
what's happening? You need to
There
go
we
home.
are.
Go home.
There we are. Because it's just like I said. If we set up at least healthy, good couples to journey, older couples to journey with young couples, because the truth is, let's be honest, pastor not necessarily not pastor and some even some leaders not always gonna be on the pulpit or going through what him dealing with on a regular church basis, and then turn and identify and say, Brian, something's happening in your mind.
True.
No,
True.
because and even if he does, Brian can always say, "No, man, we're good. All
Right.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
man, yeah, man." Yes, but if you're journeying with somebody and you're
Mm-hmm.
checking on them and you're, what's going on? Let's have a talk. Let's sit down. Let's go through some, let's reason, whatever. Let's come together as the four couples are man and man and woman and woman. You get to kind of understand a person. You get to kind of see certain things. You get to kind of be like, I saw Brian here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Something is.
Something is
No,
wrong.
it seemed
Yeah.
like he might do it this week again, Brian, and it's
I
now
look right.
Wednesday. Why, Brian? Why are you here
Let
again?
us have a
Yeah,
conversation.
let's,
Yeah.
because therein lies that person or that couple now journeying with you can identify certain things and
Right.
be like, no man, let's talk about
Yeah.
this thing
Right.
because I can see that. Yeah, you might not be saying it to everybody, but I who have been journeying with you know that there may be something that's amiss right here.
Right.
And so there again, it comes back to even again discipleship. It comes back to that mentorship, that just that process of journeying with
Right.
with people.
Right.
There was something that you said. There was something that you said I wanted to talk about. What? It's
So,
alright.
so while you're thinking about that, and before you talk, Gloria, so I wanted to still comment on the microwave thing, marriage thing, because it directly lines up. Funny enough, in the same way that we're saying we don't want to make the church be one of the reasons that we break up. We don't want to make it be that one of these fights, is the reason that we break up ultimately and stuff like that. And I mean, more and more persons are, and I mean, I will applaud people. More and more persons are aware of their mental health. More and more persons are willing to take care of themselves and say, "Yo, I'm getting out of a situation" and stuff like that. Like I believe, funny enough, in self preservation,
Yes.
and as long as the Lord indeed gives proper releases, because me not believe said Lord put we in a bag of situation for better bruise
Nope.
and all them something them don't believe in our foolishness. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
However, though, I do believe in going through a season that allows you to grow.
Yes.
And all of that. So there's a thin line and there's a weird balance. But saying that to say, I believe that in you moving forward as a married couple, especially as a Christian married couple, especially as you place Christ at the center and stuff, you actually have to just make the decision. What is it that you are willing to fight for? In
True.
the sense of like, all right, cool, we can, because in this world, everybody in them feelings. Everybody want cancel this, cancel that. Everybody I say,
Ready.
yo, I'm not the one, or all them
Ready.
something there. You get me? And everybody trigger happy basically. You get what I'm saying? And a reality is that especially on this journey, and especially persons who are willing to play for the long game, like the millionaires that we're talking about, they play for the long game. They actually sow seeds, and those seeds bloom 10 years down the line. You
Yep.
get me? So a reality is that yeah, it's so cute with love, it's so cute with the romantics, it's so cute with the flowy wedding dresses and all those stuff there, whatever. But what is it that you are going to decide that you are going to hold on to? And when it comes to marriage and stuff, to make sure that your marriage is not a microwave marriage. What
Mm.
is it that you are going to hold on to and fight for and decide that, all right, cool, yeah, this is the goal that we're working towards and stuff, and then fine, we can list our deal breakers and thing. But it's gonna take a deep level of commitment. It goes beyond love. It goes beyond the fluttery feelings while you get orgasms and all them something. It goes beyond all of that.
Yep.
You need to decide what you're going to fight for, and that is definitely going to be a huge thing that needs to go along with God's guidance in your marriage, and that I believe will definitely help you to not have a microwave marriage, or help you to not have a marriage that is basically built on the sand.
And
I
that is when we have to say, is are we doing this for the wedding or for the marriage?
That's
Yep,
right.
yep, yep.
Exactly.
I just I remembered what I wanted to say, and I'll add it to the question before of what I wish I knew before marriage.
Mhm.
Um, I wish I understood how loud external voices were.
Voices.
Trust me.
Yep.
Like you don't understand how much external voice, how loud external voices are
Hmm.
until you decide, like, you know what? It's not about what, and yeah, it's not about what everybody is saying. It's what I need to do now,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and it
And
comes
commit
back to
to.
that fight,
Yep.
because
Exactly.
the fight,
Yep.
sometimes the fight will make you in society or certain people's eyes. Sometimes
Yep.
the fight will make you look like a fool.
Let me tell you, man.
Mm. Yeah.
Sometimes the fight will make you look like an idiot. And if we're really thinking about it, and I feel like that's why a lot of times, people will pick and choose the verses they want to use in the Bible.
Hey.
But really and truly, if we're really gonna like really go to what the Bible says, and when the Bible talks about love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life
Mm-hmm.
for the church,
Yeah.
is not giving up, is not giving up the football game,
No,
is not giving up. If you think your biggest sacrifice is the football game,
have a problem.
you don't know what it is yet. If you think giving up, if you think giving up the going out, or the giving up the, if you think you not watching certain shows or what have you is the sacrifice, think again.
Think
Because
again.
sometimes the sacrifice comes in, it's not about what you thought was manly, or it's not about what you thought made you a whole woman. It's about you possibly just sitting in this moment, and while he's doing and saying some stuff, you have to be quiet, and you have to be praying, and you have to be trusting. On the flip, same with the man, while she's saying
Right.
some stuff and
Yep.
whatever, and and in your brain, the external voice is say, "Oh, you mean stand up, shout, tell her to calm down." But the spirit of the Lord is saying, "No, you don't answer here,
Not doing
because
this
it's
one.
going to make this worse and worse than you think." And so they're, uh-huh.
I'm just thinking about everything that you're saying, and the truth is, persons who would say that and who would boost up people like Supergen, the people who would do something like that are persons who are single or persons who are not
That's
happy
right.
in marriage.
It's true. It's true.
Best
A
believe
lot
it.
of times, but no, but here, funny thing, those are there, but again, but there's also the persons who have succumb to society. The wife has succumbed to society and the man has succumbed to
Right.
society. So the man does a thing, and because she has succumbed to society, as yeah, man, you need to just listen to that and done.
Mm-hmm.
And don't say nothing about it. Don't share your heart. Don't ask him for listen to what you're saying. Just done.
Yeah, but they're unhappy. That's why they're doing that.
Exactly.
And they're
Exactly.
just doing it. And so both parties are just like, yeah, because that's the way society says makes
And
a
then
great
afterwards,
marriage.
they all sit down together and eat ice cream and cry. It's ridiculous. Speaking on that note, I'm gonna
Yeah.
pause right here.